And then, it's 2024. So 2024, basically, you can't tell the pastor who he can be married to when he become a pastor, or who to marry once he's already a pastor. You get what I'm saying? So before you became first lady, you was Dr. Keshia. Before you became Dr. Keshia, you was, Keshia, but you wasn't Brown, whatever your maiden name, was. You was still the same person, but as you got older and your titles changed, that doesn't mean the person. And you, like you said, your morals and all that changed. You see what I'm saying? It stayed the same. If you was a good person, you still a good person.
Let's go. Yo, listen up, everybody. Have you heard the news? Got a brand new show that's breaking all the rules. Started out from VA and now we on the move. From local to global, cause we got something to prove. We came from the bottom, now we at the tippy top. To hold it down for our people, cause we all we got. This a cold, cold world, but we keeping it hot. With a future on the line, ain't no time to stop. All work over here, still we having fun. Yeah, we say it like it is, ain't no holding our tongue. Go get us on the team, yeah, we getting it done. And shout out to Travell, yo, you number one. It started with a dream that turned into a vision. Now educating new generations is our mission. Ears to the streets, yeah, we steady politicking. If it ain't about to change, mind your business.
Now wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. Wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. Now wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. We top picks like we all up on the gram with it. Now wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. Now wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. Now wait a damn minute, wave your hands with it. We top picks like we all up on the gram with it.
You're now tuned into another episode of Wait Again Minute Podcast. I am Gam, and of course I got my sidekick, my co-host,
Mz Gogetta.
And tonight, y'all, first of all, we're going to be on our best behavior because we have two prestigious first ladies in the house. So, Ms. Gogetta, we're gonna be good, right?
Yes.
But anyway. So with that being said, Lady Day, how was your weekend?
It was good. Had a good time with family,
You had a good Mother's Day?
I did. Other than having to preach, And I wanted to rest, but we good.
No, I watched it.
You watched it?
I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wow.
So Dr. Keshia, how was your weekend?
It was busy. Very busy. The kids keep you busy between football. I worked. I preached on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, you preached too?
It's all because the lady got the ball. That my husband heard that she was preaching, but then I got the assignment by default. I said, no, I'm supposed to be resting. And I am working on Mother's Day. But I did go to bed at 8 o'clock. So that was a blessing.
Okay.
I told my husband, I don't care what y'all do. Y'all can go to the moon. Y'all can visit the White House. Whatever y'all want to do.
Correct. So, Dr. Keshia, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners of Way to Eat?
Yeah, my name is Keshia Brown. I am a PA by trade. I went to Hampton University, one of the prestigious HBCUs, the real HBCU. And then I went on to Eastern Virginia Medical School right here in Norfolk, Virginia, where I got my master's of physician assistant degree. And then I went on to Regent University, where I got my doctorate degree in strategic and healthcare leadership. And then I have been just operating in ministry, serving alongside my husband, who's the pastor now at Chesapeake. And then I have 3 children, 2 boys, 11 and 6. And then I finally got that baby girl on the 3rd try, Miss Little Kennedy Nicole. So we are busy on every end.
I'm sure. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Very much so. So I know it's a lot to come behind.
Right. I mean, you can put me first.
I never know that if you're going to step in, you're going to step in. Introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners.
All right. I am Jessica Wilkins. I am a Maryland native, but I think I've been here longer than I was living in Maryland at this point.
Okay.
But went to Bowie State, then graduated with my master's from Virginia Union in divinity. Look, we have total of 8 kids together. 8, yes, way more than enough. But I am the executive minister at the Mount Suffolk, working alongside Pastor Carl in ministry, doing what we do. And I also homeschool my 2 babies, the last 2.
Oh, you homeschool?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a friend, matter of fact, we're actually going to Bowie
Next weekend.
for the graduation. Yeah. My friend daughter's graduating.
Wow.
She majored in biology. She's going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
A doctor
You're
of
going to be a doctor.
a doctor of physical therapy or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Very, very much so.
Because I was making up. See, she trying to start in front of y'all already. She thought I was making it up.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I was
I'm glad y'all hear that.
Right.
Like, yes, that is the thing. Yeah.
good. Like I was telling you about the teacher. I know I didn't talk with Lady J about it, but I was saying like last year I was thinking about doing a First Lady series. And it kind of like went away, but then it came back, and so I was like, okay, God, you must want me to talk about it. Like, let me know. And we believe in having those conversations, you know, talking with people from all different walks of life, because all different walks of life listen to us.
Right.
So we want to be of service to people, and that's basically what WAGM is. It's a ministry too. Like,
Absolutely.
we're in ministry, we're in
Right.
ministry.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's right.
And I'm learning that more and more. Because I think back from when we started to now, and I'm like, we done changed a whole lot. Like,
Wow.
it changed a whole lot, and I'll be honest, it wasn't my call. So
Mhm.
now I'm just, you know, whatever he's saying, do, I'm just trying to be obedient.
That's it.
So with that being said, you guys are here.
Yeah.
And y'all are our first 2 for the second series, which is going to be 3 episodes. But
Okay.
you guys are first, so I think that it's a wide variety of First Ladies.
Sure.
Because
Absolutely.
everybody's different.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that, in other words, what she's saying, so that means y'all got to set it off right.
Bye. Set it
it
bye.
They jump right into it.
Right.
So, let's start with you, First Lady J. You've been a First Lady how long?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
How is that? What does that look like?
It's been challenging. I think it's a role you have to grow into, because you know when you first step into that role, if you will, people have their expectations, but you have to kind of, you know, set your boundaries and find your place, you know, and not let people put what they think you should be on you, and not try to live that out and it not be authentic to you.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a growing situation. For sure.
I love it. And I love that you guys are authentic as well, because that's, to me, that separates you guys from, you know, the older traditional First Ladies. Because I just think, which leads into my next question. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Keshia. First Lady, like, what do you think a First Lady should possess, or how she should carry herself? Or how do you think she should?
Wow, I mean, I think she should be who she is. I mean, being her authentic self is the best example of anybody. But I mean, I think of Proverbs 31 woman. I mean, just being compassionate, having a loving spirit, being helpful, you know, being empathetic. I think those are all qualities that make a great First Lady, and I think a good person in general. So the title First Lady is just the title, but it doesn't change the moral of who you are. And so I think if you have a standard for yourself of being a person of moral and good character, then that translates over to being a great First Lady.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that answer.
I do too. I do too, and I believe that though.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about who has the largest head or who. No, seriously, you know, because you know that's some churches, they still want you to act a certain way, be a certain way, look a certain way, and then you know it's 2024. So 2024, you can't tell the pastor who he can be married to when he become a pastor, or who to marry once he's already a pastor. You get what I'm saying? So before you became First Lady, you was Dr. Keshia before you became Dr. Keshia. You was, Keshia, well, you wasn't Brown, whatever your maiden name, was. You was still the same person, but as you got older and your titles changed, that doesn't mean the person. And you, like you said, your morals and all that changed. You see what I'm saying? It stayed the same. If you was a good person, you still a good person. You just became a better person. But some people, they want you to be, like, no, I never did this. I never did that. No, you should never do this. You should never do that. But what I have found out, a lot of people listen to you and respect you more when they know you have a similar struggle, or you can talk about something realistic other than, no, don't do this, don't do that, act a certain way, sit up straight, do this and that. You're not doing that for real, what I'm saying? Then that's why I think that the disappointment comes in as well. It's when they find out later that you're not that. Exactly. But you was acting like you was that when you was in church, but you're not that. And it's like they forget the human part. Right. And it's like if you realize that they are who they are, outside, inside, all the way around, then you wouldn't be so disappointed or feel like they're not this and they're not that, Then all the chit chatter will go away.
Absolutely.
Because church folks are the most talkingest folks.
Yes.
And we all know people who have been one way at home and another way at church. So I think that puts the distaste in people's mouths, because it's like, Ma, I know how you act at home. I know you just call me everything but a child of God.
Right.
And you try to get up here in front of these church people and act like you got it all together when we just finished having a knockdown, drag out fight. Right. So I think that is the aspiration of just to be the same person. And for me, being a first lady, even for my children, I don't want them growing up feeling like mom was different at home than she was out here with these church people smiling and greeting and hugging. I want them to feel like the same person that I see on Sundays is the same person that they see at home. And so I just always try to keep that mindset, even when I get frustrated with them, to just not be a different person. So.
Right. And with this, and with that, put it in reverse. Now, what do you think about some first ladies, like you were saying, compassionate? You have some first ladies that are just mean. They're just mean for no reason, or they're not liking some of the other people, some of the other members of the church, or they have, issue with members talking to the pastor, or the pastor being who they are and out with the church because they're not fully committed, So how do you feel about that? How do you feel, Lady J, if someone comes up to Pastor Carl and want to talk to him about something, but may not want you there?
Right. I think that's just for me, the biggest part of it is recognizing that ultimately he's the pastor, and his job is to shepherd the people. And that means males and females, and whether I think, what I think really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme, he has to do what God has called him to do. So I've learned that, he's doing his job. He's walking in his role. Right. And when I think of it that way, it's easy to accept.
Right.
And I think the other thing too is with male to female, and I think I'm always self-aware of this, because when I work in an office where I have to examine a patient, I have to have a chaperone if they're of the opposite sex. So I think even working in ministry for men, it's if a woman wants to speak to them one-on-one, it's always good to have someone in the room.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because this is a day and age where people say
anything.
So I agree that, the pastor is a pastor, but always having that safeguard for themselves, to just have a witness in their spirit,
right? Because people have been put out a whole bunch of stuff. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't know he can do cartwheels backwards. How you do a cartwheel with you? It's and then they made up a whole little routine. Like, what?
Absolutely, absolutely,
that's absolutely. I like that answer, and I think that some pastors do that now. And I think it's because of so many things have happened prior to. So they don't want to be in that space. You're not a Batman in the corner.
Right.
So, and then, but I just think whoever is there, as long as they keep whatever, to themselves, I think it's good. So my question to you is, Dr. Keshia, being that you guys now have fully transitioned in the role that you guys are in, right? And coming from a church or mega church, you know, that has a big influence. Like, how is it, like, far as the pressure? Is it any pressure trying to fill those big shoes?
Oh, absolutely. There's pressure all day. Unwanted pressure, wanted pressure. I think it's just the natural pressure that goes along with the assignment. I think when you recognize that somebody so great has come before you, number one, you don't want to let your parents down. And then, well, really, number one, you don't want to let God down.
Right.
But in the natural, you don't want to let your parents down. So I think it's the pressure of just rising to the occasion.
Right.
But I think there's also like the natural comparison that people don't do intentionally. It's just, this was Bishop and Elder, and now this is you and Pastor LJ. And so I think it's kind of, you know, just the side by side of who they were and who you guys are going to be. But we have learned throughout this journey to not try to fill their shoes, but walk in our own shoes.
Right.
And so I think that's the beauty of understanding. If you walk in your authenticity, that God's going to open doors for you. He's going to move mountains for you. And as long as you just be obedient to the thing that he's calling you to do,
Right.
and he'll send your people, he'll send your sheep, and then you'll be able to walk in influence because you've owned who he called you to be.
That's good. That's good, because like Gam just asked you in reference to having to quote unquote supposedly fill the shoes, because although you're not trying to, because you know that's their imprint, then you have to do your own and leave your own imprint for who's next after you. Now, how do the members, like, have you gotten a pushback from the members trying to force you to be that way, you know, what they're used to? Or have you received like negative or positive feedback or anything?
No, I mean, I think honestly, people know one thing about my husband is that he is going to be who he going to be.
Sure.
There is no, you're not going to make him conform. You're not going to make him change. You're not going to put him in a 3-piece suit with a tie. He's just going to be himself. He's going to be comfortable. And I think that is the beauty of like having him as a pastor. Is that you know you're going to get what you're going to get. There ain't no front. I mean, he's going to be black and white. There ain't no gray area with him. You're going to know where you stand. And so I love that, because it doesn't give you any room to try to like push me a certain way. Because I'm just going to be who God called me to be, and I'm going to complete my assignment. So I think that has been the greatest strength of our transition, is not having to feel like we have to be his parent. He's not gonna be his daddy. He don't got a sweet hoop. You know, he's gonna talk. And I think practicality is what we need, right? Like, I say all the time, like, we've been hollered at our whole life, and I've been sitting in church and the preacher was hollering, and I don't know what he said when I left. But it's like now people want to understand how to grow. How can I apply these principles to my life? Help me get my money right. Help me develop my relationships. Help me to work on myself, my morals, my character, my self-esteem, my emotions. Like, those are things that I feel like we need in this day and age to be successful and to deal with the opposition and the warfare that we face just in the world. And so I think that has been the beauty of just leading with my husband.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So, Lady Jane, you guys have been at it for 5 years, so you guys aren't toddlers anymore. Like, y'all. Right. Y'all almost up there. So now, what if you had an issue? Well, you didn't have an issue, but as a partner had an issue with your husband. How would you handle it? And you know, like, he or she wronged your husband. Like, how would you handle it?
I mean, it has happened, and I think over time you just learn that, you know, and our bishop says it all the time: sheep bite. And that's just something that you have to accept. And you have to recognize that everybody has their own stuff, you know. And I think that's the biggest lesson in leading ministry. That you understand hurting people hurt people.
Right.
And everybody, you have to look at everybody through that lens and be able to love them past that, you know, and just, and it's not easy. You know, that's a situation you got to keep going to God about. Okay, God, help me love them, you know. but you just got to keep that main thing the main thing. You know, these are sheep, and sheep gonna do what sheep do. You know,
Sheep.
yeah. That's it.
I love your response, especially when you said about loving them through that, because I think a lot of times people don't do that. Like the first time, you know, you wrong me or whatever, it's like, okay, I'm fighting back, but and not taking into consideration that, you know, like you said, hurt people. Yep. Everybody, people are going through some things. So, and I think that I love that part when you said, because I really believe that coming from you. Whereas, and just sitting here talking to you both, I really feel that you guys do what you say.
Right.
Versus some people, it's like, you know, yeah, they're talking a good game, but it's like, it's one of the things of, yeah, you saying that, but behind closed doors,
Right.
So I think, when people encounter you guys, especially if it's somebody who's come off the street, meaning they haven't done church before,
they're gonna feel comfortable.
They're gonna feel
right. Yeah,
exactly. They're gonna feel comfortable because, you know, we can see now, like, and these young people, they calling you out.
Listen,
yes,
Quick, yep.
They calling you. I listened to somebody the other day, and he said that, matter of fact, it was Pastor Murray. He said that as a church,
we felt
the youth, and I think that's somewhat true. And then the part that I enjoyed about it was about accountability. So being that we know that, okay, so what are we going to do now?
Right.
Like, how are we going to move forward now?
Right.
So I love the fact that, like, how you guys both have a young, you guys are young but have young partners, especially at the Mount Suffolk, because I visit you guys a lot.
Right.
But I'm just excited to see where the ministry is going to go. I know it's going to continue to grow. And Dr. Keshia, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're PA. Like, how are you balancing, like, all of this stuff?
The Lord.
The good Lord.
You know, it's so funny because people ask me that question all the time. Like, my friends say it. We just don't know how you do what you do. And I really don't have, like, a well thought out answer. I think it's just like what God gave me, the way I'm wired. My mom is a queen multitasker. And so I was telling you earlier that, I mean, she helps me in every capacity, from picking the kids up to washing clothes to cooking dinner to helping them with homework. I mean, she literally just does it all. And so having such a strong support system, I mean, it takes a village to raise a child. So having that helps me to be able to just be a little bit of everything. But I think I've always been a multitasker. I mean, Bishop says all the time, even in high school, I played softball and tennis in the same season. I was the only student they allowed to play softball and tennis in the same season. So I would have a tennis match, change my clothes, and then go to the softball game. And so I just think multitasking is like one of the things that God gave me. It's like my superpower. So I think that's how I do it. Because otherwise, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a grace, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about first ladies, and there's some who just want that front row, treat me like I'm the queen type of role. But I think when you are really called to ministry, there's a grace on the wife to do, you know, to be that helpmeet, and you know, and I think God gives you that balance. He graces you to have that balance. Because it's necessary.
So is it also necessary, if you're a first lady, that you might have to get up and preach, or you have to be a minister or ordained as well?
No, I don't
just be a first lady. And
I think you can. I think I'm thinking in our fellowship, we have some wives that don't preach. They don't do platform ministry. And for me, I never thought I was going to marry. I thought I was going to be a pastor. So yeah. I knew God was calling me to ministry at 18. So, but I had to go through a journey first. But I had to wreck some people. Me to let me get there too soon. But yeah, no, I don't think that's required. Yeah, I think it's just something, you know, there are wives that do have that call, and so it can kind of walk hand in hand in
Okay.
that way.
Okay.
So listen to what you just said, Lady J. You said that you felt as though you were called, and God is funny, right? He flipped that
For
thing.
sure.
So like now you,
For sure.
yeah, you're called. So that's why it's like you slid on into that role yesterday, right?
Right.
Right. And make me do it.
So do you feel like you was actually, Dr. Keshia, do you feel like you was called to be in the ministry?
I do. It's funny because I have people to this day that I went to college with, and in college they would call me First Lady, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Why are y'all calling me First Lady? I still have. They will say on social media, like, "Girl, we've been seeing you as a First Lady since Hampton University," and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, how could God show them that in college? Like, that's so weird. And to see it manifest, because honestly, my husband had like ran away from this for a long time. He said he didn't run away, but he was like, I ain't pastoring. I'm not doing it. Y'all can have it. Anybody that would tell him he was going to be a pastor, he was like, y'all smoking that bad stuff, and wherever y'all got it from, y'all pretend it back. And so, it was like I was always called a First Lady, but I just didn't know how it would evolve. I just would always tell him, you have so much wisdom. Like, I just felt like God was going to develop him. And then when the Mount Portsmouth came up as an opportunity, it was like his way of still remaining authentic to himself. And same thing like Lady Jessica, like God had to grow him. Like he had to help him develop through those seasons. And we're still growing. I mean, that's the beauty of life. You're always learning. You're always growing. So I definitely could say that I guess I heard it, but to see it manifest now, it's like so apropos that it's like really happening. But I think that goes back to like even the spirit that you carry, to the very first question, like what people see on you and like what you exude and what they feel. And so I think that just goes back to like being authentic and still just allowing your character to like shine through and really being that light to others, so they feel that and they see it.
You know what though? It's actual a thing of being a First Lady, because I remember when I was in school. And it was these young ladies, and we was always be like, they were like long, traditional, Koji, jeans, skirts, whatever. And they'd be like, oh man, she gonna be a First Lady. They want her to be a First Lady, and she's a First Lady. Wow. A couple of them are First Lady. I just think that so it is a such thing as a First Lady, like especially coming up in church or whatever. But I just want people to really, for this episode, know that it's only a title,
right?
But some people, carry the title with such care and delicacy, which I get it, but it goes back to like what Ms. Gogetta was saying about how some First Ladies aren't personable, some First Ladies aren't, and I get it. It's just like with with anything, you have your variety of. But I just think dealing with people, people come to church. We look at it as a hospital. We're hurt, we're going through. And if I'm coming to church because I'm trying to get delivered from something, or I'm trying to, get closer to God, and then you have somebody right there who is actually pushing you away. Right. It's like, dang, like, church hurt is one of the worst hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So how would you talk with someone, Lady J, that has who's been in that place and they're just like torn about coming back into church because of how they were treated when they were at the church?
I would tell them to find that they need to find a safe place, because truth is, there are a lot of places that carry the name church, but every place ain't a safe place. And that's just the truth. I would say to pray that God would send you, send someone into your life, or send you to a place that you can connect. I think one of the biggest things we do with churches is we teach a whole lot of Bible, a whole lot of restrictions, and we talk about Jesus, but we don't live. We did the band, What Would Jesus Do? But we really don't do what he did, because Jesus never approached somebody, even in the worst sin. He always approached them with love and grace, always. And we don't do that. And I'm saying, but Jesus, our model. How do we not do that? So really, I would just, tell that person to keep trying. Don't give up. try, pray and ask God to lead you to that place where they do represent Christ.
Music
Yeah.
licensing reimagined.
I love the fact that both of your churches do a lot of community stuff, and I tell Kim all the time. I said, I don't care what anybody say about Bishop Brown. I don't care what anybody says. When I see him and I see the things that he do, it supersedes the name. Like where a lot of a lot of preachers, elders, whatever in the church, they don't do things outside of those four walls.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wait a Gam Minute podcast. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button as well, so when we drop a new episode, you'll be first to know. Stay tuned to all things Wait a Gam Minute.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, again, like everybody's not coming in.
Right.
So you got to meet people where they are.
Right.
But I love the fact that you guys are community. Like you do a lot of things for the community. And I think Bishop said something. What is he saying? The church
Supposed to change lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that's something that you guys live by.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's what I was about to ask. Is that something that, for it being Mount Suffolk, Mount Chesapeake, is that like something flat that the bishop laid out? Like you have to,
that's our motto. That's our vision.
and community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cover, care, connect are our pillars of how we serve the city. So
Okay.
I love that it's all the sites that
Mm-hmm.
are under the Mount Suffolk Fellowship. We operate and serve in that capacity. And I think it just sets up the standard, right? Like when we think about Chick-fil-A,
Mm-hmm.
we think about the standard
Mhm.
of what they set. You go certain places, there's like a standard of excellence. There's
Right.
a standard of just what you get. And I think that separates everybody else from the rest. And so I love that that's our motto, because it really does set us apart in that regard and how we serve and love people.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't, going back to Jesus, he went into the temple, but the majority of his ministry was in the streets.
Yeah.
So how can we be the church and not mirror him in the streets?
In the
Hitting those streets.
there's nothing wrong being in the streets as long as you cover when you.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's actually a good thing. Lady J, you've been a first lady, and say that.
Artlist.io.
I was about to do that. You be warming up, and they be like, nah, I ain't gonna say it. Like, nah, you got to say it now. You just started it up.
I actually forgot my question.
Oh,
Lord. But I want to give you your kudos because that was a good segue. And I be having like so much on my mind, so many questions or whatever. But I know one thing I wanted to ask: how do you, if you are a first lady, because this is the topic of our podcast, you work too?
In the house, but yeah.
Okay.
I work together.
So
I
you
work
have
about
dinner,
5 jobs for the house.
You wash, clean.
Oh, listen, I got about 5 jobs.
Right.
5 jobs.
Look, so now, okay, in your fellowship, right? Is it like the president? Like if something should happen to the president, then the vice president step in. So the same thing like with the first lady. If something happened to the pastor, you need to step in and.
I don't think that's generally the case, but in our, that's what
So
we
that's how it is
That's
for
like
the
how
Mount
you're ordained.
Chesapeake or Suffolk.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you're ordained too?
Will be.
in June.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was good that you answered that, because I was about to ask, and I was going to let whichever one of you wanted to pick it up. What, as first lady, what are your duties and requirement and add on?
I think there are any formalized duties besides you're to serve alongside your husband. It's not like a job description where you're paid to be a first lady. I think the goal of being in ministry is to serve alongside your husband and help cover the people. And so we pray, we show up, we go to different events, we teach if we have to, if we've been assigned to teach. And so we do those things to help the ministry flourish. I know a lot of behind the scenes things that we do to help push the ministry forward. So that's kind of the overall description, but it's not like a job description where it's like the first lady does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like
and I guess it's more of a thing of what do you think? Okay, you don't call them members. I've been hearing the word partners.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think your partners expect from the first lady? Because, you know, just like you said, you really don't have no duties. But when you go to different churches, you talk to the partners, they be like, oh, no, the first lady need to do blah, 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 blah. And they run it down. It's like, oh, okay, so they have a job. Are y'all paying them too? I thought the pastor was just getting paid.
Right.
So, from your opinion, what do you think, or how do you feel that the partners think your job duties should be or should go?
It's a little different for me because I am on payroll as executive minister of Mount Suffolk. So I kind of oversee ministries and things like that. But even before I got into that position, people called me Pastor J. And I'm like, I'm not pastor of nothing. Let's be clear. I never told you that. But I think it is just the expectation that I think they just see, and that might be from a bishop and elder perspective. I think people coming to the Mount, because bishop and elder have set this model of working together in ministry. I think it's just the expectation when partners come in that the first lady is going to be an elder. You know what I mean? She's going to be just like elder. And so they just kind of expect you to be that person that they can tap. If I can't get to Pastor LJ or Pastor Carl, first lady can you counsel me? Can you know what I mean? I think it's just the expectation that our partners have because that model has been set.
I think, I think you probably are correct.
Yeah.
I just know me personally. If I'm married, I'm like, no, that's
right.
No,
Right.
Partner, you know, like,
right.
You know, especially if I'm okay with giving a word.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I know I'm giving a word.
Right.
It's supposed to, oh, come on up here.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I'll be like, she's great.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, get back there.
Right.
Because I don't like being put on the spot.
Sure.
Right.
So
sure.
I just think, like, as a first lady or as some, one in leadership, you have to be able to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So being that you had to, do preach Sunday too, Dr. Keshia, because of your older sister here. How was that? I mean, I know you said you went to bed early, but
It beat you down.
She got ministry in her. She could have done it. What eyes closed.
There's other duties at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think for LJ and I particularly, when we started at the Mount Portsmouth, we were co-teaching every Sunday. And so that was a little different than the normal model of all the site pastors normally teaching alone. And so we kind of started that, and LJ just wanted to continue it. And I have to remind him, sir, you are on the payroll. I'm going to be a first lady. Right. The traditional first lady.
Right.
But I mean, it's been fun. We've grown together. It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful to model your own way and not have to feel like you have to be a clone, right?
Right.
You can set a different precedent. You can have a different standard and it still be God. Like at the end of the day, it should be about getting God however you can get him. Yeah. Right. And so the message has not changed, but the container or the packaging that it may look like has changed. And I think people like, to see something different where they still can experience God, feel God, He being the present. And so I think that's what we always have to keep in mind when we're doing this and operating in this model, that we just continue to pour Jesus so that people can feel Him, experience Him, and just grow in their own personal lives.
Right.
Right. That's true.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, Dr. Keshia, because I know you guys probably heard about it went viral with Pastor Keon, and I love Pastor Keon.
Me too. That's my brother.
And I still love him. Like,
right.
It happened. But how do you guys feel about that? And would you have handled it differently if that was on your in your
While you was up preaching
while
yesterday.
you were preaching yesterday? I'm setting it for you. You up there?
I mean, we have some in our church.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think people who go to church understand, right? When you are becoming a distraction versus worshiping. And I think that can be hard, right? The world will not see that.
Right.
Because the world will say that you are shutting somebody down in their worship, period.
Right.
There is no, like, somebody's praising the Lord. But I think even him giving context, right? You can't win in his situation. You can't,
absolutely not.
No matter how you explain it, it's always going to be taken and perceived. So I don't even think that's like something that we can really explain, or I can't like coerce you to think something else because you're going to feel how you feel regardless. I just can say that I know from personal experience that we have identified people that are like that. And we know behind the scenes the things that happen or that we've addressed or talked about. So it's not that I'm trying to like shut somebody down in their worship, but some people come to church to like show off.
And cause confusion.
Yeah, right? That's a real thing.
It is.
You would think that people...
Because I understood why he did it. I was like, he should have. Call it to order. It's just like any other meeting. You can put it in the format or in the mindset of it's a meeting. You're having a meeting. He's up there delivering what the meeting is about. And then you have someone in the meeting that's just doing stuff that's kind of like, wait a minute. We're not on that right now. That's not on the agenda part of the meeting right now. You know, and then they keep doing it and doing it. It's a distraction. I understood.
I get it. It's a distraction at the same time. I just feel like because of the history, because you knew that, you know, the back, you knew what's going on. Get her from up there.
And I personally, that was the thing I said. You know, I understood it. I understood, you know, exactly where he was coming from and the backstory. I personally probably wouldn't put her in a public ministry. This you can't say. Come on over here. But I think one of the things we have is some amazing intercessors, and they know their role. So you can cut up in that corner, and they're going to go get you, and they're going to pray with you all the way back to the back. And they going to handle that back there. And so it doesn't even put pressure on the pastor to have to address it. Because you have the people skilled to deal with that. They deal with that.
And I just like that. And it was just fucking on the fingers.
Yeah. Right.
Tear on the shreds. Tamara Hall shit. I'm like, y'all took away from Shawnee, like talking about Pastor Keon.
Right.
I'm not going to fight for pluck his fingers and stuff. But I had to ask you guys because it was very, very fitting, you know.
And I got that question a lot. I mean, people are saying, "What you think about that?" Come on, y'all. I can't answer for that, man. I don't go to that church, you know. But
you can just imagine how it would be and how the order of, you know, your service go.
Right.
You know, your pastor is up there. It's like, I'm gonna need y'all to calm that down back there. Yeah. I get it though.
Y'all know what? At the end of the day, it's gonna always be.
It is.
Right? So
always.
We're not gonna ever be able to fit everybody's agenda or their thought process. They're gonna critique something. I mean, they critique LJ. You know, you don't fit into the preacher role. You don't fit into the preacher model, but how can you use anybody?
Right.
And so I think we always, for me, I'm like always just super cognizant about like putting things on people because we don't know. You know? And I feel like we're always going to be ostracized or criticized for something from somebody, and so you just got to try to be your best. Like, none of us are perfect, right? God extends grace to all of us, and it just may be your Sunday where you slipped, or you had a bad moment, or you did something that's like, man, why did I do that? But all of us fall short. Right?
We do. We do.
I mean, that's the reality of being a human being.
Right. And not feel that pressure to have to explain to people who are determined to misunderstand you.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Half the people talking about them don't even care, you know, about the real story. It's just, I can think something about the church now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Social media gives everybody a platform
to
say stuff that they
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like Twitter fingers. I get to argue on social media, but I would never say this to you if I really saw you. So
Right.
It's the day.
Then soon they see you, it's like, hey,
Right.
Exactly.
Let me get
then trying to hug, then trying to hug and everything. You like, well, won't you just talk it? What's your name on Instagram again?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I think that's what I think. We should have put them fingers. but I get it. You know, he was in the moment. I definitely get it. So do you have any other questions? You want to ask?
Yes, actually I do. No, but seriously. But I don't want to call, which I just want you both to answer, whoever go first. It doesn't matter. Now, when you was younger and you went to church, right? And we still talking about first ladies. I don't want to take away from you guys and talk about the pastors. But let me say this first. I've always wondered, because, you know, back in the day, traditionally, you know, when I was going to church as a little girl, the first ladies, they did, like we were saying earlier, they act a certain way. They had to carry themselves a certain way. And how it took place outside the church was a whole different way. So I always wondered, now, did you have to be selected to be a first lady? Like, is it a role that you automatically fall into because of that? It's like, man, I know all these ladies don't want to wear these hats. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I would never be able to be a first lady because I'm not wearing these big hats. But now, fast forward, you know, you have Dr. Keshia with her NY baseball hat on. Right. Then you have you with your locks. So I know you're not going to put no hat on your locks, right? So therefore, you ladies are basically yourselves. Like, you're stylish. You know, you made up. You're looking pretty. You're going to do what you got to do, right? So what do you think took place for that transition from the hats, right? From the traditional hats to now, be you. 2024, be you. So however you are, that's how you come.
I think time, you know, even the whole fighting for women's rights, and I think just women to be able to show up in a space and just be themselves. I think that has been a part of it. I mean, I even think about like women's basketball right now, like the movement of women's basketball. Like time had to catch up with their greatness. It was already there, but like time had to meet it. And now it's like this new era of women's basketball, and they are killing it. Like, there are plenty of greats before the people that they're seeing now. I mean, we're seeing Caitlin Clark and Reed, but there was Candace Parker, and there was Teresa Weatherspoon, and Lisa Leslie. I mean, there were the greats that were already there, but like time had to catch up with that. So I think it's the same thing in ministry. It's like the evolution of time. I mean, we weren't the same 20 years ago as we are now. So I think all of that has played a role, and I think people are just tired of like the facade. Right. That has become, I think, the biggest game changer of looking one way and being another way. And so, you know, the hats and the dignified and the white doilies, you got no more saved than I am. That's it. I think that's been the biggest shift in the timing of being a first lady and just walking that out. And the relatability of it. So.
Yeah, that's you hit it exactly what I was going to say. I think the church just caught on. The members, they caught on. Like, it ain't you, right? And I'm out because it ain't you. And I think, you know, they have just demanded. I think the culture of church has just demanded authenticity and transparency. Can you just let me know that I'm not crazy out here thinking I'm the only one who think like this, feel like this, who have experienced that? And they just, I want somebody who I can relate to. I don't need your hat. You know what I mean? I need to be able to relate. I need to be able to say this to you, and you're not clutching your pearls like, oh my God. You can say to me, girl, you know what? I used to do that too. You know what I mean? That's what that's what people need. Because that's what we needed. You know, to know that we were not alone.
People out here dealing with real stuff.
Real stuff.
Life is life.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's definitely.
Yeah.
Like you said. So
Right.
I think that's dope. Like, what is a myth that I think people think about first ladies that's far from the truth?
Well, I think even though both of us preach, a myth is that the first lady has to be in ministry now, because that's not true. You can have a first lady who just, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
just, because he's my husband.
Right. Yeah.
That makes me a first lady.
Okay.
Because that's literally the only thing that makes you a
makes you
first
first
lady is
lady,
because your husband pastor.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
A hard one.
Yeah, that they gotta act a certain way and be a certain way.
Yeah.
Because I always wonder. So and then people gotta realize, and I say it all the time. The pastor, yes, he's the pastor of the church, but he's also a human. He's also a man. So he might not necessarily get the Diddy woman to be the first lady.
Right.
Like how they used to sin.
Right.
He might get the one that might. What you say?
No, what did you?
I don't know what you said. I can't hear myself. Anyway, so he might get the young lady that might, like you just said, just want to just come to church.
Right.
She don't want to do anything. She don't want to be responsible for anything. She don't want to get up there and preach. She just don't have, like you said, you knew you had it in you at 18.
Right.
She might not have that, and she might not be looking for it. And it might just not be her calling. It might not be for her.
That's right.
So with that being said, does that make her like less?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely. And I think that part of her husband's job, even in the role of a pastor, is to let his congregation know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put that expectation on my wife.
Right.
Don't put that burden on her.
Right.
She is called to be my wife.
Right. Be my helpmate.
And then and whatever else God has called her to, that's her and God's business.
Right.
But she is here because she is my wife.
Right.
And not only that, but like that just may be her assignment to just be
Absolutely.
where her husband needs,
Right.
so that he can be effective.
Absolutely.
And so you just have to, I think, change your perspective about it.
Mm-hmm.
It works in different capacities, as we've seen. I mean, some actually model and ministry together, and some it just may be the pastor. But it doesn't mean that she's any less than because she's serving in a different capacity.
Right.
She's still being effective. She's
Right.
still being used by God to help support and hold up the ministry. And the thing that people don't realize is that your husband needs you really more than you know to be able to fight his battles. I mean, there's so many things that they're fighting against alone. They don't need you to be bossing them around. They just need you to just come home and cry on your shoulder.
Right.
Or just have a meal home. When they get there. And so that's some of the things that even me and my husband have talked about, and just defining our roles and knowing like when to take your head off and when to put it on. And so I think that's important in ministry too, because there's a balance in all of it.
Right.
And being effective. And I wanted to go back to the thought when y'all were talking about church hurt, because I think this is such an important topic, especially when we're talking about couples and ministry, or just people in general, right? Because when we think about church hurt, it's like, oh my God, the church hurt me so much and I'm never going back. But I think the thing that we also have to think about is like McDonald's ice cream machine been broke forever.
Forever.
And you keep
still
going back.
Yep.
You keep going back.
Yes, I think there like offense has to be taken, right? And so once you find it in your heart that, I've been offended and I can't go past it, like that's something that you have to ask God to help you deal with about that particular thing.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you just go away to church. Right. Like Lady Jessica said, you just have to find that place, and everybody can have a place. You just know what that place is for you. And so we can't throw God out the window just because one person hurt us. We don't stop going to work every day because that mean coworker.
Right. And that mean boss.
Right. You still show up, you figure out the deal and get past.
Right.
So I think church hurt is such a thing that we've coined, and it's like
more like an excuse.
Yes. Absolutely. Because there's no other hurt. Ain't no work hurt.
Right.
Ain't no school hurt.
Husband hurt.
Right.
You're like, oh, my boyfriend had cheated on me 5 times.
Right.
And you still with him?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him some time. I'm gonna give him about 2 days.
Right.
And I'm gonna block him for 2 days and 5 times.
Oh, okay, girl. Go ahead, girl.
Yeah, I get it. But you have a point though. You have a point. Did you both grow up in church?
I did.
Okay.
So that's how they said she.
Right.
Yeah, that's why when she left that part out, like, why you say that? You were going to church. So were you churchy or you was just going?
Nah, never churchy.
I mean, I appreciate the foundation of actually growing up in church. I remember even being in Christian school and I would have to like learn Bible verses. And then at church, we would have to recite them. So I think even now looking back, like that helped me with personal speaking. I mean, public speaking and being able to like stand in front of people and not be afraid to talk. So it's like the whole time I was being developed in the room. And so it's like, I appreciate having to recite my scripture, even though then it was like, oh my God, Mom, I got to get up here and say this Bible verse in front of all these people. But like, it was developing me the whole time for something that God knew that I would arrive to. I didn't know it, but He knew it. And so it's so funny how God just uses every season. Like, He doesn't waste anything. He uses everything to develop you on your journey. And I think that's the beauty of like looking back over your life saying, God, I see why you did this. Or I see why you used this. Or I see why I had to go through this so that you prepare me for this next season so that I wouldn't fall apart when I got here.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, and listen to y'all speak, right? I think, like, I don't know what we would call it, but y'all need to do a seminar or something like, because it is, I know y'all don't want to believe, but it's a such thing as first ladies. Like, people out here dying and sliding the rules. I don't understand why.
Oh, yeah. But they want to slide in rules for something totally different, though.
Right. Even if you have 50 members and it's 50 versus y'all two, like y'all outnumbered. And then they got 50 things going on. So you're outnumbered. So but some people they want that role. Like they want it. But I think you guys would be good to talk to women who are younger first ladies or people who are, you know, coming into the ministry or whatever, because
so they can like be first lady mentors.
Yeah, you know what, right? What do you call mentees? Yeah, y'all can have mentees. But seriously, like, because you guys speak well, and when I tell you it's authentic, like you, like even when you were speaking about, you know, you felt as though God was calling you early on, you kind of, you know, shooing away a little bit, but you
so
know,
you was out in the streets, is what you're saying?
I actually can see that, you know, and with you, Dr. Keshia, like how, you know, you were talking and you were smiling, like people need it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's something that you guys should really consider, because there's a lot of people out here who don't want to talk to people in church because they're scared of, you know, like pillow talking. But I don't see you guys taking that outside of those walls, but you're taking what they're telling you and you're helping them get to the next level or whatever it is. So I think you guys would be great for that.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that too. I agree.
Yeah. All right.
Now, when it happened, I want y'all to say, you know,
that's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that definitely dope, because you guys do have an influence, you know, and it's good to be able to use the influence.
I agree.
You know, and help other people get to whatever their next level is for them to get to.
And then, you know, it's their personality and everything, so it makes you feel comfortable. So if they're a little shaky or whatever, I can see that happening, because it's like, oh, okay, they really like, and that you're relatable, so they can relate to you, and then, you know, you can teach them on how to be from where you used to be. You know,
and at the end of the day, it's being authentic. Because the more I think about it, like, it's several, like, because I'm from Suffolk, right? So it's several first ladies that, you know, I know personally, like, their church ride for them. Like, yeah, they're human, they have their issues just like, you know, anybody else.
Right.
But they can go to them and they can talk to them and feel confident. They can go to them and let their hair down, you know, or whatever it is. but because and then some of them is like, I don't know my business.
Right.
Yeah, it's something that you just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's true.
And like when they have altar call, you come to the altar, they like, well, the man be like, okay, well, wife, you pray for.
Or either you walking around the altar or whatever, and you trying to ignore the first lady sitting there, and shucks, she trying to ignore you too. So.
But that's absolutely true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
But I have enjoyed our conversation. Like we definitely don't want to hold you guys long, but I really learned a lot, and you changed my perspective on First Lady.
Wow.
And I realized that, I too put too much pressure and too much on you guys when it's not even that. Because at the end of the day, you're a person just like I am. But I do feel as though that in your respective role, you need to be respected.
Right.
I definitely don't feel as though you disrespected. So, and I do feel like you still need to be handled with care. Because if we handle you with care, then you're going to handle your husband. We can't mishandle you and think that this man gonna be still in the phone. Yeah, Jesus said, you did shit about it. You know what I'm saying? So, and we gotta realize like you're a representation of him. So, we definitely don't want to do that. But let's go get. We take away from tonight. I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, always. No, seriously, I've learned a lot. Because my perspective may be a little different because of my experience. I haven't been anywhere where I get to where I have gotten to really sit down and talk and listen, and then see the warmth that's automatically coming from you ladies. It's like you're smiling, you're personable, and you're relatable. But I've met some that you might not even speak to, So, and it goes back to what you said earlier when we was talking about them being mean, and you don't really want to say they're mean, but it's like they don't want to be bothered with you, or they picking and choosing, and I get it. You can talk to who you want to talk to, but when I just feel like, when you're the first lady, and like Gam just said, you're representing your husband because he can't get to everybody.
Absolutely.
So, and then especially, like what we were talking about earlier, especially if it's a female that needs to talk, why not come to you as the first lady and talk to you versus talking about it to your husband, who's also the pastor, but certain things they might need to say, he can't, and it might be a little bit more comfortable for that lady to talk to you, the first lady, if that first lady is warm enough and, relatable and you open, because you don't want to go talk to nobody and they sitting there like this. Right. And you trying to talk to them, you already, your mind already way over here, and they sitting like this. So that's going to make you feel like, but I think with you ladies, I have really enjoyed talking to you ladies. So I'm like, oh, okay, wow. I'm going to need to go check out the church just for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, I was sitting up here thinking, like, when you was talking about you was preaching, I said, I should have went check out the church. Because, I've been knowing Pastor Carl forever because we grew up together.
Yeah.
But and I don't know Pastor LJ, but it's just the fact that I would want to go just for you ladies. And I know a lot of people be wanting to go to the churches for the pastor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But for me, it would be you ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm like, when? Huh? You said what?
But, like for you to
Don't listen to me, y'all.
A wind came. And every time I feel a little wind, I know it's
but seriously, like they're really pleasant. It's like I really do. I'm like this, like okay, you next, like like y'all even talk some more. Yeah.
Some of y'all main ones, some of y'all ones who are
they need to take lessons.
But you know what? In all honesty, though, like I'm gonna be fair, like just like Dr. Keshia said, it most of them personality. So
with the personality
being them, like I get it. I just think like in certain areas you just gotta
grow.
Walk and
you gotta grow.
Yeah.
But break your husband's soul
Mhm.
and know that you need to grow in your personality.
Because you can stop the growth of the
Absolutely.
church.
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like single-handedly, like people, the spouse, whichever the first man, whomever, have. Put a cork in that milk.
Absolutely.
That's just like when you walk in the door of any business.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say customer
service.
but
Absolutely.
Customer service
that
is it.
first person that you interact with sets the tone for your
Right.
Yeah.
Customer service is everything though, because the food can be trash, the whatever they have going on and selling can be trash, but that customer service can be outstanding. You're gonna keep coming back just because of the customer service. Because let's be honest, Chick-fil-A is not all that. But
it's not.
It's not. But the service, the service. You know, it's like it's yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Oh, of course. You're like, okay. It makes you feel important. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sit in this long line for this chicken sandwich that I don't need. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sitting here because they're so nice and they make me feel important.
Right. Instead of giving your fries.
Right.
You did 3.
Yeah. and then you tell them 3 and they still give you 2. Well, what you asked me for? You already knew what you was gonna get. They be like, oh, that's 50 cents.
Yeah.
That's 50 cents. Well, for what? For 1 pack of ketchup. So
can you tell us what got two last questions? Well, the things I want to ask you. What you did, tell the people where they can find you guys, and then wrap it up with how your time has been on Way to Gam Minute and it's Gam for Gam brand. Partners.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So they can find me, Dr. Keish on IG, on Facebook as Keshia Brown. And our church is the Mount at Chesapeake. Google www.themountleads.org because the Mount does lead. only at the Mount. Okay. And church is supposed to change lives. And what was the last question?
How your time
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. We have had so much fun.
Yeah.
I love the genuine, authentic conversation. Y'all are hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think this is the conversation that people need to hear to just help people grow in whatever capacity that they're in, that they can see a different light of first ladies and just experience it and hear it, so they can just take it back and eat it up and be able to pour that same thing back out into their community.
Absolutely. All right.
The best for that.
So, social media for everyone, just on IG and on Facebook, I'm Jessica Lynch Wilkins. And of course, same website to find the Mount at Suffolk, www.themountleads.org. And my time here has been amazing. I think, of course, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, great information. But I think what you all do is amazing. And like you said, it's ministry. It's ministry in a way. You're getting information to a group of people who may never join anybody's church, may have never been in anybody's church, and just everything else that you do. You just giving information that is necessary to the world. I love it.
Keep going.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to say before we wrap up? Let's go get them.
No. Oh, don't forget the call May 18th.
May 18th. Yes.
May 18th the call.
Even though this will be out after. But go ahead. You do such a good job.
Never mind.
The call.
The call May 18th. 9 a.m. Starts 9 a.m. Kids 8 to 18. It's almost like a scared straight program for, the kids. Try to shake them up a little bit. So
necessary.
That's May 18th in Suffolk. What's the address? 204 East Washington Street. So you want to volunteer, or if you have kids you want to sign up. We have a lot of kids right now, but remember, awesome. It's not necessarily a drop off. Please make sure your kids are signed up. Please make sure you at least walk them in the building. Say hi to us and the people that's there to volunteer that's going to be with your kids for a few hours. Please make sure you know who's going to be with your kids. Okay, don't just drop them off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's like a Scare Straight program to try to help the community, help these kids. And we're trying to, just help because it does take a village.
Absolutely.
So we have some parents who just need that little help with their kids.
Yep. And we don't know that you need help unless you say you need help.
That's it.
That's why we try to
That's
lay
it.
it out there for you so that you know that we are there. And like Ms. Gogetta said, we are part of your village if you allow us to be. Because when those kids leave out their door, you don't have control. So they're out in the world. So we want to make sure that we are giving them the tools to be able to, make a conscious decision to do better than they did the day before.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, stay tuned to All Things WAGM Minute. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.